episode 4 of Target Score Brampton. I'm your host, Matt Bonomi. He is the distinguished Paul Sarah, not DMZ, the distinguished gentleman. Love that too. You can follow us on Target Score Pod on Instagram, Target Score Podcast on YouTube. New episodes every Wednesday and constant content on all of your socials. You can also check out Target Score Winnipeg with Joey Slattery and Taylor Not Teddy Allen, and Target Score Vancouver with Chris Wiggins and Andrew Savory. Well, D, it's a very
sorry. Before we move on, shout out to those guys. We had a lot of fun on that crossover episode.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excuse me, I'm choked up a little bit here after what happened between us and those guys. So I didn't want to give them any love off the top, but the classy, distinguished gentleman you are, a good move by them. But yeah, obviously check that one out. It was a ton of fun. We previewed the Brampton and Vancouver game that was a couple of days ago. But new pod, new guests. New guest today is Cam Tyson, the sharpshooter, which we are excited. Yeah, should be awesome. We got to watch him on the weekend, which was always fun. And then D, how was your weekend? We have a little something to get to later that you were a part of that is pretty special. Something about a tank and a shark and a billion-dollar business guy that is involved with our team. But outside of that, is your little tease.
I thought we were going to talk about the fact that my wife went to her first CBL game this season. But yeah, I guess Mark was important as well.
How was your weekend,
though? Brownie points. Not much, man. Obviously, we had the Saturday game to look forward to. I think in terms of entertainment and what we had built it up to, the billing, it certainly lived up to expectations, and we'll break that down. But other than that, man, I'm trying to think. I can't remember what happened Friday, but Saturday just prepped for the game, and then I was thinking about jumping on a bike and participating in a marathon on Sunday morning. But I couldn't find the legs to do it. How about you?
What a plug. That was me. And I am a plug.
Yeah, you beat me to it.
Yeah, well, they're gonna get that now. I gotta jump ahead of the game now, or else I'm gonna end up in the bear trap every time. Yeah, I did a cool bike ride, 92 kilometers for brain health.
92,
awesome.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was fun. We smashed the fundraising goal, which was cool. So it's right downtown.
But rewind the tape for a second. So you live in the St. Catherine, Niagara region. You hauled your bike to the game on Saturday. You parked your bike there, right? And then take us from there.
I just took a lot of heat for putting that bike in the office there. And for the record, I drove with the bike on the rack. I didn't ride the bike. I think everyone and their brother was like, Did you ride the bike to the game? Did you ride the bike?
Can you imagine?
And then every time somebody asked me, I'm like, did you ride the bike to the game? Did you ride the as if it was like, I know this is coming. No, but they were awesome. Shout out to the game day staff for letting me stash the old bike there in the office. And then got home at, I don't know, I stayed in Toronto that night, got home at like maybe 11-ish, and then went to bed at like 1, got up at 4:30, and the bike started at 6 in the northeastern area, the museum up on Winford Drive, which was fun. Great event though. It was awesome. Ton of people. It's always fun to see people raise money for a good cause too. And
good weather too, which helps.
Oh my God, it was amazing, man. It was great. And it's just the right amount of space too. Like it's the DVP and the Gardner, so they shut all the highways down. Sorry to everybody that had to drive.
You were the reason the Gardner was shut down. And I saw photos of people and videos of people on their condos, of people on their bikes. And now that makes some, I don't know how I didn't put that together.
Just yelling, they're all probably really upset. And I used to be one of those guys when I lived in Leslieville. You could see it, and I'm like, man, I can't get on the highway, and now I am that guy. So, but it was a ton of fun. It was good. I love biking, so that was biking to me is like walking. I can't walk, but I can bike. But it's more it's relaxing. It's therapeutic. It's a nice kind of thing. But 92K was a personal best for me, so that was a ton of fun, and it took me like 3.5 hours. So, and then the food after was amazing too.
So if 92K was the goal, do you hope to eclipse that goal at some point this summer, or is that like a next year thing?
Probably a next year thing. My overall goal would be to get to 120. So that's the ride from Niagara to Toronto, like the full ride. I think it's about 120 kilometers, but I want to do that eventually. But I felt the other day, like the problem is being on the highway, it's so up and down. Like if you drove straight from Niagara to Toronto, the only up and down you would really get would be like the Skyway.
Right.
So there's not a ton of up and down. But this one with like going north up the DVP, there's like slow incline for like 2-3 kilometers. So you're just like hammering it. But it's like a burn. So I'm like, oh. So then you get to the end and then you got to go up an off ramp to get to the end of the. It was like by the last like I like walled the last like 10K I would say where I'm like man I can normally like I never get tired legs from biking and I was like oh my gosh this is actually I'm like starting to feel a little bit and but it
Mm.
was an awesome event. It was a ton of fun. So yeah, hopefully one day do the ride from Niagara to Toronto with a suit on to do a Brampton game and then be the first to do that, live stream the whole thing, and then come into
So
the
then
arena
people can
sweaty,
make
college
so
game
then
and
people
leave.
make that joke and you can't make fun of them. You're like,
Yeah,
"I
then I'm
actually
gonna be
did
like, "Yeah,
bike
you
here
know what?
today."
That's what I did today, guys. I biked to the game." Yeah, that was a ton of fun. Thanks for asking about it. It was good. Again, another cool
No, I'm super
cause and
proud of you, man.
something
Like
to
that's not an easy feat, and I know there's a lot of preparation, and I know you've been hitting the weights, and you're watching your diet these days as well. So I'm glad that it all paid off.
water diet, filter feed. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Man, we had a fun-ish week of basketball, I would say. Obviously, Brampton took on Montreal, which got them to 5-0. That was an 82-80 win. Kind of scary down the stretch there. A lower scoring game, we could say. And Brampton was off to a pretty historic start. They were the 5-0. I think it was the first team in league history in the Eastern side to be undefeated after 5 games.
Yeah, really, really scrappy game, and I think I said it off the top of the broadcast, and it was also my first game. If you just want to toss that out there as well for the
Oh,
season, but I said it off the top, right? Two teams that are 1 and 2 in points against. So we were expecting a defensive cage match, and it sort of lived up to that. And even with the scoring, it was all over the place. I don't have the box score in front of me, but I don't think they shot particularly well. Also. Uh, but yeah, Brampton came through, and we've talked about how Brampton's managed to win different kind of games this year, and they've been tested early, and obviously school day game as well. So there's that fun that comes with that as well. I think it was the last one, so never want to take those for granted. Uh, but yeah, it really set us up for a heavyweight battle on Saturday night with Vancouver beating Niagara, the defending champs. Their banner raising, their ring ceremony, and coming away with a victory, and then having little to no rest and having to play an undefeated Brampton team. And I hate to say I predicted it, but when we did the crossover, this is kind of what I expected. I thought Kyle would get these guys going, but what impressed me was like the leadership of Jalen House and how guys were rallying around him. It was just a really fun game, and I don't mean to to jump ahead here, but my biggest sort of takeaway was like that it feels like Vancouver goes as far as Jalen House, and man, that guy was just like he was just electric personality wise. It's funny because when I got to him to interviewing him by the end of the game, he just seemed pretty calm and pretty timid, and he was ready to move on. But he was absolutely, as the kids would say, nails during the game.
Yeah, it's kind of weird too. Obviously, again, as D's saying, that Vancouver game was a 93-87 loss for Brampton, so their first L of the season. Don't worry, I wrote it up there. People thought I wasn't going to do it, but I did. I did. Relax. John East had 35 for Brampton. One off of his career high, which 36. Cam Tyson 15. Moncrief 5 points, 12 boards. Um, it was kind of a weird game. Like I think the focus was on Jalen House, but then there was like who had 23 points, 12 dimes, I think too.
Mhm.
Samuel also 17 and 10. But what about Parolin?
Yeah.
Like, Parolin was, like, unbelievable. Dom Parolin snapped 19 points, 10 boards, but he was, like, everywhere. Like, so he smashes his point per game averages, and like you said, it was weird because you have to take care of Jalen House, and then it's also like, "Oh, okay, well, we can kinda contain him. Maybe, like, holding him to 23 is not bad, even though that's a really good game." But then it's like, "Oh, by the way, we got this other dude who's coming in here that averages 8 points a game, and he's gonna run the table on you guys, and there's nothing you can do about it," kinda thing. So, it was weird, like, weird watching that sense, but a huge performance by him. The thing about Jalen House too, Jalen House, like I said to Joe during the broadcast or as we're in a break, I'm like, "He reminds me a lot of Teddy Allen." So, he got
Mm.
back-to-back technicals. He had a technical in the Niagara game on the Friday night and then fouled out, later in the game on a common foul. But then he could have got kicked out because he was, like, fired up, he threw his arm, he was upset, and there's a lot of emotion, like,
The
it's weird, it's
emotion
kind
is
of
what impressed me the most, man.
yeah, that's the thing, like, it's one of those coin flip things where, like, with Teddy Allen too, like, you either get the side where they're very emotional or they're just gonna dominate and go off, and these 2 guys kind of have a little bit of both of that this year. Obviously, I mean, they're both perennial scorers, and like you said, House can dish the ball too. But when House got that technical against Brampton on Saturday night, when I think he scored a 3 or something and went like this, did like the Ja Morant finger guns, literally just the guns, no, not in not outside of the gym, unlike Ja. Anyway, but
Shots
the
fired.
yeah, I'm not gonna yeah, there you go. Well done. There
But a
you go.
bum.
It's fine. But House was doing this and he's into it and they're firing arrows, they're doing all kinds of stuff. And they got a technical on Joe said on the broadcast, like, oh, you got to maintain composure. And I kind of went back and I was like, yeah, you know what though? Like, I like that. Like, I love that emotion. Like, I want guys in this league that are going to test the limits and kind of be like, yeah, you know what? I'm into it. Like, I want to talk smack. I want to be. And Joe was like, yeah, you actually do need that. Like, it is nice to have that. But again, it's also about like in an important game, which this was obviously carried a lot of weight, best in the West, best in the East, going head to head. You want to maintain your emotions and you want to make sure you're in the ball game because they needed him down the stretch. And boy, was he good too.
Well, I mean, we talked about it on the last podcast about Serta getting his technicals right. Like it's a great motivator, and sometimes it's the fire that you need. And I think for Jalen House, they came at the right time, and not to the detriment of Vancouver, and stopping a run or slowing them down in any way. There's a couple. I mean, there's a couple times during every game you think Kyle Julius is going to get it right. He gets a pretty mean stare down. I know there was one particular incident when he was
Oh
looking
my
back at
god.
you guys before a timeout. But it's funny because you really start to see the fabric and DNA of Kyle Julius kind of seep into his guys, and obviously the guys that have already been here, Tyrese and Kopp, and these guys already know what to expect out of him. But he's already seemed to have a massive impact on Jalen House and his demeanor during games, and to the best. I mean, you talked about Dominic, but Kopp hit some big threes in target time, and for a guy like him, like how easy is it, like that Jalen House just draws all these defenders and all he's got to do is just sit and be ready. And, kudos to him because he was ready in those moments.
Yeah, and certainly safe to say like Vancouver was the better team that night. You talk about Kyle Julius, like again, we said it on the last episode. Like I think these guys are chapped. They feel like
Yeah.
they're owed something. They've been the best team in the West in the regular season the last 2 seasons. And they're probably right. Like they deserve to win at some point. They do such a good job when they lose players of filling in spots and once again, shocker, they've done it. Um, but one of the things too, like again about Kyle Julius's intensity, like I think he called a timeout and he was staring at the table and the table didn't give him a timeout quick enough or something, and he was like looking down the line, like what happened there, and then like he got a technical, he got a warning, and then he got a technical like 2 seconds later. Um, but like that's the intensity that I like. Like coaches may be like watching the game, maybe like this guy needs to relax, but like I love that. Like I want this guy to be like, man, I'm into it. Everything needs to be perfect. Like this is an operation. It's not just another Saturday stroll into the Flower City to get Rick's good eats and then hang out on the sideline, call a game, and then leave. Like that's not what they're there for. It was like a business trip for them. But yeah, one of the things that caught your eye too was the Prince Odro and Keon Ambrose Hilton stuff. So kind of maybe like a bit of a swap in minutes.
Yeah, I mean the last game. So Prince has started this season so far, and since Keon's gotten here, he's come off the bench, and we've alluded to like maybe that will change at some point. And I'm wondering if we're slowly starting to see those seeds. Right. The last game, Prince played 25 minutes, and Keon had 18. But then here in Vancouver, and I don't know if it was a size thing, because I mean Prince is a pretty big guy, and he's a shot blocker. Like you kind of want him down the stretch of these games. But that sort of flipped, right?
Mm.
Trying to find the numbers here. Yeah, Prince finished with 15 and Ambrose ended up finishing with 26 minutes. So is this maybe, a potential swap in shifting the starting lineups? I think, they're 5-1 so far. It's working, and I don't think Serta will jump and make that change. But if we see some sort of dynamics changing, or maybe the team's not getting off to the start that they want, the big thing that I noticed in this game is this is a game where you miss a guy like Jameer Nelson. I say miss a guy because he hasn't even played yet, but like Sean East was really, really trying to make a lot happen where Jalen House has the luxury of Samuel and he has these guys that can knock down
Mm.
shots. And, no, that's not no discredit to like Cam Tyson. Like Cam Tyson is a guy that can go off too. But, Tyrese Hunter is a perfect example. Went 0 for 5 in this game. This is a guy that's, averaging close to 17 points in this game. And even in, I think, Montreal, he only had 10 points as well. And so he's a guy that I don't think he's going to be consistently shooting scoring 17 to 15 points a game. And so that's where you have a guy like Jameer where you're going to get your 18, 20 on a regular basis and take a little bit of that pressure off Sean East.
Yeah, and the good news too, I think for Brampton fans is Brampton's only going to get better. If you look at the roster that Vancouver has right now, they're very good. I would probably easily say they're the best team in the league. Not easily, but I would say they're right now at least probably the best team in the league. And even they didn't really play that good the other night. Like Cop struggled from 3 to start, then kind of got going at the end. But like stuff like that was like Samuel held to 17 points. And I say held because he had 29 the night before on like 92% shooting in Niagara. Like, so those are the capabilities that these guys have. Also, them scoring 93 points. I think three of their 4 wins entering that game were like 110-point games for them. So they had at least 110 points. So like this is an offense that still could unlock, but they were also playing the league's best defense. So yeah, I think you're bang on. Like once you get a Jameer there, that helps, and then it also alleviates the pressure. So like Brampton's only going to get better. I kind of see Vancouver as a team that will also get better when they just perform better with the current roster they have. And it's hard to say perform better when you're 5-1, but to their standard, they want to blow teams out, right?
And I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, but obviously it's a gut punch when the team loses, but when that game ended, it wasn't a complete downer that they lost. Like I know people don't like moral losses, but for me, it was like you hung with these guys. You gave a great game. The crowd was totally locked into that game, and I thought it was a respectable loss. And I know if we talk to Serta, and we won't even bring it to Cam Tyson because they'll be like, "There's no such thing." But to me, it didn't like it'll show up on the standings that they have a loss, but it really didn't feel like that much of a um what's the word I'm looking for? Like despite it being a loss, I came away with a lot more positives than
Yeah.
negatives. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it's not really a setback for them, right? I mean, like I think
Yes,
people
setback's perfect
thought,
word.
yeah, I think people thought we're gonna edit that out and we're gonna say, Matt, you're perfect. The setback on it a million times. It's the first time I ever can get something on you. But I think, yeah, like that's a good way of putting it though. Like you're bang on. And like I would 100% agree with you. I don't think like we left the arena and I think we all thought we were gonna be like, oh man, this sucks. Like first loss of the season. And then we talked to Serta and Serta's like, man, like that was a ball game, like that kind of
Mhm.
thing. And I'm like, man, this
And he
was
said it with a
like,
smile on his face, like he wasn't
yeah,
bitter, right?
yeah, and that's the thing too, like, these guys are competitors, but they're also, like, basketball fans too, right? Like, Serta knows his team balled out, Sean balled out, like, there were things that they could have done differently or, like, hitting shots, different defensive, possessions, that kinda thing, but, like, at the same time too, I wouldn't, like I agree, like, I kind of view this as, like, Yankees, Red Sox, like, middle of the
Oh,
season
here
or,
we
like, I
go.
guess Yankees, Jays. Well, no, but what I'm saying is, like,
I
if
know.
you lose a series during the season, it's kinda like, yeah, that stings, but, like, it's also like, "Ah, you know what? There's a lot of season left, like, we may see these guys again, not this year because the Red Sox suck," but that kinda thing, like, you know what I mean?
You're
But
not
that kinda
wrong.
thing, right? Like, where, like, yeah, they will see Vancouver down the line. There's probably a pretty good chance at some point they may see Vancouver in the playoffs. Um and that would be obviously in the Golden Goose game. But you don't know, right? Like I mean, like I think that's kind of like the beauty of it. Like again, you pured it. I think a lot of people left there and were like, yeah, this like wasn't bad. Like there was a lot to celebrate from tonight. Just two good teams going nose to nose, and it's a coin flip.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think selfishly, we're glad that Saskatchewan pulled off an upset last night with Scarborough because now Brampton owns that title
Oh,
of the only team to start off season 5-0 on the Eastern Conference side because that was in jeopardy with Scarborough. And yeah, at least we can hang our hands on that.
okay, let me get this little thing out of the way, and then we're gonna get to the big cheese story we got here for you.
Of course, of course.
Coming up next for Brampton, Wednesday, June 3rd, that is a game against the Edmonton Stingers. They're coming off a win against Calgary. Calgary now 0-5. This was all part of the first triple header in CEBL season yesterday. That was Ottawa beating Montreal, Edmonton beating Calgary, and like Dee said, Saskatoon stunning Scarborough, their first loss of the season. So no more undefeated teams in the Canadian League Basketball League. So the Stingers in the building on June 3rd, CAA Center in Brampton. And then Sean Easton, Keon Ambrose Hilton playing their old team, which should be fun. New Stinger too, Isaiah Moore. He'll be in the lineup. And then Scotty Lindsay will also be there too. He's a household name in the Canadian League Basketball League. And then Friday's a big one. Brampton heads down the highway to Niagara, And the back-to-back defending champs will host the Honey Badgers, looking for their first home win of the season.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited for that Edmonton game, man. That's Sean's gonna put on, like, he's gonna want to do it against his old team. We've also heard the quotes from Jordan Baker when referring to Xavier Moon, right? Like saying the grass is not always greener on the other side. So you got to imagine Jordan's gonna want to come here and make Sean really, really earn that victory. And yeah,
Mhm.
this Edmonton roster is slowly starting to take shape and form, and they've got some guys on that team. Even with Scotty Lindsay coming back, I what's the number that I wrote down? Yeah, he came off the bench against Calgary, only played close to 13 minutes and had 16 points. So he's ready to rip it, and I'm sure that he'll take it personal. The fact that Sean chose Brampton over Edmonton for this season. So I can't wait for that game. That's gonna be great.
That one's gonna be a good one. That is a, nighttime game. I believe it's 7 o'clock. If you can't get there, go to, CBC Gem and YouTube, and you can watch it on CEBL YouTube or
And you can
CEBL
see
Plus.
us.
Yes, absolutely. Or you can just come to the game. It's gonna be a ton of fun. Okay. The big stuff. It took us 21 minutes to get into this. 21
The
minutes to get into this.
cubes.
Talk about burying the lead. Mark Cuban, of course, like a month ago, announced as the latest individual to buy into the Brampton Honey Badgers, invest his cashola into the CEBL's hottest team in the Eastern Conference this season. Man, I was like speechless when we got to meet him. Of course, team CEO Al Whitley, buddies with him from his days in Dallas. Leonard Asper, business partner with him as well. So when we got to meet him off the top, I was kind of stunned. I'm like, what was your reaction? Because I was kind of speechless. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I feel like I need to come up with a line here, and I don't know what to say. And I'm like, this is just like 15 years of Shark Tank all in one 20-second meeting. But like, it was awesome to have him there. It was crazy cool.
Well, I want to take it further back, right? We started to get some hints that there would be a special guest coming on Saturday. Given our inside connections, and I'm not going to reveal those because I'm not a snitch. But we had gotten we'd got some tea leaves that Mark could possibly be at the game on Saturday. Selfishly as a sideline reporter, I was really, really excited about the potential of interviewing him as well. So, I started doing my deep dives and looking into, what Mark has already answered, what he hasn't already answered. Because my big thing is I would hate doubling up on questions and making him ask the same or answering the same questions over and over again. But
Mhm.
yeah, so we got that intel, and me and you kept saying like, "Have you heard anything? Have you heard anything?" And then finally we got the confirmation on Friday night that he would be coming. Again, we had to be very tight-lipped about it, but Brampton obviously wanted to set us up for success on the broadcast and make sure that, we had all our ducks in a row. But yeah, you showed up earlier than usual, and I showed up a little bit earlier than usual too, in the hopes that maybe we'd get an opportunity to chat with him before the game started. And yeah, it was like the building went black, and there was like a glow on the tunnel as he's walking down with Al, and there was like the heavenly light around him, and I'm like, oh my god, there he is in the flesh. And I can't remember where you left this off, but yeah, Joe was like, let's go over there, and he grabbed us and we went over, and like you and I just turned into like little kids in that moment, and we just kind of let Joe do all the talking.
Yeah, I didn't even know what to say. I'm like, I feel like everything we're gonna say, like I'm just gonna sit there and be like, oh yeah, like I don't even know like what I was gonna say. This is I'm gonna show this pic here. Joey's probably gonna kill me because the distortion on the thing. Let's see if I can. Oh, I gotta turn the brightness down maybe. But this was before the game, which was awesome.
Yeah,
So you've got D, myself, Joe, team CEO Al Whitley, and then Mark Cuban.
this is
Horrible,
why you need to watch this on
horrible,
YouTube.
horrible quality. Yeah, this is why like it's just, this guy. Ignore that. He wasn't even there. But the biggest part of the night was the sit down interview that you got to do with him during the game. And we thought like at the beginning, maybe it was going to be like, maybe you'd have headset on with us on the sideline during the broadcast with Joe, you and I. Maybe you do a stand up interview under the net, but you got a chance to sit courtside directly across from us and talk to Mark for like what seemed like 20 minutes of like
Bro,
the best content. Like you just kept going on and on. And normally with Joe, like I'll watch Joe and Joe will be like, okay, let's get back to the game kind of thing. Like you'll see. But this was just like, man, this is such an interesting conversation. Like, is this like top three for you all time of like celebrities that you've one met and two interviewed or like done something media wise with?
Yeah, it's funny because I even remember was it whether it was the morning or that night you texted me and you're like, is the butthole tightening up? Like, are you ready for
Yeah,
this?
like, you getting all tense now or what's going on?
And I was and in a smart alecky way, like I came back and I said, I had some pretty big interviews. I've been lucky enough to talk to like Daniel Radcliffe, and I'm not even a Harry Potter guy, but I knew the magnitude of that interview during TIFF. I got to do Jose Batista last year with the RBC Canadian Open as well. But what really excited me and what I said to you was the thing that makes me excited, like the reason I'm not nervous is I mean, this is my job, right? Like if I'm nervous, I always, what my motto in life is, and you can take this away as well, is I always tell people if you're not nervous, you're not ready. And what I mean by that is you're nervous because you obviously want to do a really good job. And I think when you get to a point when you're not nervous, that means that you kind of just you taken for granted what you get to do, right? So for me, it
Mhm.
was sure I was nervous, but Mark is an interviewer's dream because of exactly what you saw. He gave me insightful, long-winded answers, and he didn't have to, but he definitely he took the time to give me these detailed answers and thought and put a lot of thought into it. And for an interviewer, like that's a dream because like I probably could have gave him really buttered down, watered down questions, and he still would have made something out of it, right? So to his credit, he was all game. He never told, like, nobody told me, you have to keep it to a certain amount of questions. And it was just unique, right? We were sitting there sideline watching the game as we're having this conversation, like we would be if we were both going to the game together and watching, right? And like, it was so cool just to see him, like, even eat popcorn, like, just to see a billionaire on his level, just chilling there and acting and behaving like an actual fan. But I'm incredibly grateful that he took the time and it was kind of surreal when we met him. He's like, we went to go introduce ourselves, and he's like, "Oh, I already know you guys." And that's when the hairs on my arm just stood up. I'm just like, "Oh, he's already seen me."
The that was funny. Yeah, that was kinda like, yeah, okay, now I'm not gonna say anything because I don't know what to say. But a couple things that, like, just from someone on the other side of the floor watching that interview that I thought was, like, great is, 1, you're, like, the most, like, social, personable person ever. Is that personable person? Does that make sense? Yeah, personable
We'll take
guy.
it.
So, like, you can talk to anyone, dude. Like, you can throw you in a room with, like, 1,000 strangers, and you'll mold and work with them so well, and everybody will be like, yeah, like, someone else would walk in, and they'd be like, "Oh, who's that guy?" And they'd be like, "Oh, they've probably known him for, like, 25 years," the way they're, like, interacting. So that was awesome, and then Mark's personality too of, like, answering the questions that you were asking, which were solid ones too. Um, Watching that was like he was just kinda like it was kinda like watching 2 dudes at the bar. Like, at the end, when you made
Mm.
the joke of like, "Yeah, guys, I got, like, $1,000,000 proposal. I gotta pitch to Mark," and then he grabs the mic and he goes, "Yeah, what is it? Like, what?" And then I'm sitting there and I'm like, Mark, we're out on whatever it is as a joke." But, like, even, like, that kinda thing, like, the idea just to think on the spot and, like, vibe with your kind of, like, approach and energy, which is infectious, like, that was awesome. And then the popcorn thing was hilarious too. Like, he's sitting between if you had a chance to go back and watch a broadcast, I thought it was hilarious. And again, just a nice like testament to what a guy's guy he is. Like he's just a basketball fanatic at a sports game. He's sitting in between Al Whitley and Leonard Asper, CEO and owner, and he's just going like this with the popcorn. Like they're not saying anything. He's eating, then he's flipping the bag this way. Leonard's taking some, flipping the bag this way. Al's taking some, and they're just sitting there. But like Sean East running down the floor, he's like, "Let's go, Sean!" Like he's clapping. He's 3 balls up. He's throwing his hand up, going down. Like he was into it, man. And this is a guy that like again, for those that don't know Mark Cuban, won at the highest level, was the longest owner of the Dallas Mavericks, so longtime owner of the Mavericks, still a minority owner, but like he has won at the highest level. He's done it all, and here he is in a gym in Brampton, Ontario, cheering on guys that he's meeting for the first time and taking photos, shaking hands, kissing babies with everyone and their brother that
Oh
wanted to
my
do that.
goodness. He took
Yeah.
so many photos that day. It was just
Like,
so impressive.
you know what? And I never had like maybe this is just me with celebrity kind of outlook where I'm like, not me being a celebrity, me looking at celebrities and thinking like, oh, you know what? And most people don't have time for like all this stuff and don't want to do. And I'm thinking this guy came from Dallas that day and then goes back to Dallas that night or whatever the plan was. Like
Mhm.
he came for this and then leaves. And I'm like, what a dedicated individual in order in creating this atmosphere and wanting to be involved. And again, like it could have been so easy for him to say, yeah, man, I'll throw these 3 goofballs on the TV at home on YouTube and watch this. And then I won't, well, I should say Joe and 2 goofballs on TV. And
Yeah,
then
I was gonna say, put some respect
I
on Joe's name.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, Joe, I didn't mean that. But like, I don't need to be there. I can just catch up on but like that is nuts to me. And like I want to hear your kind of take on that too. Like how important that is for the city and how involved like he shot stuff with CBC that day. He was doing promo with Rick's Good Eats. He was doing like videos with kids and stuff. Like he was just so involved.
He's
It
up
was
there with season ticket
again
holders taking photos with all of them prior to the game as
the
well,
yeah,
right?
the season ticket holder meet and greet up top, which was an awesome thing too. Like that was like I would like to say that's a home run, but I think that was like a walk-off grand slam.
Yeah, again, he didn't have to do all that stuff, right? But he chose to, and I think he realizes the importance of it as well. And in my conversation, like I really admired the fact that he admitted that like I didn't know anything about this league, and now he's able to rifle off and talk about all these things that this league is doing, right?
Mm.
Mentioning that he's done his homework and he's talked about the pipeline. He mentioned AJ Lawson, a guy that he's familiar with as well. And I loved his answer about like, why can't it be the CBL? Like, let's have more academies, let's develop them, right? He's acknowledging that we are not the NBA. We're trying to get our guys to the NBA. So, like, why can't we help get players ready for that as well? And like, even just the nugget about like, he knows this roster. He knows that we're adding more players. He is involved. I think that was my biggest takeaway as well, right? Like people think that maybe he's just like, showing face or, attaching himself to the product just to like help build some
Yeah,
sort
like
of,
publicity stunt
hype.
kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But it's so much more than that. And the fact that like, man, to be a fly on the wall with the conversations that he was having with Al Whitley, like they were like intently watching the game, and it just felt like they were like even scouting and just talking about whatever was happening on coach. And he obviously has a great deal of respect for Serta. I'm curious, I blacked out during the interview, so I had to watch it back after. But like, what did you take away from the interview?
The funniest moment of the whole interview, I thought, again, one, this is the only praise I'm ever going to give you, by the way. So record this 3 times over. I'm kidding.
This is the social clip right here.
For D's personal Instagram, not the actual page, not the pod page. But I thought like you did an awesome job. Again, that's like a high pressure situation where it's like live television, so you're not in a spot where you can be like, okay, let's just go re-record. Like you did a great job with the questions. It felt like you were interviewing like anyone else throughout the season, kind of thing. Like there was no like playing it up like Mark. It was very like professional, well done. His responses were great. Like you said, he seems so invested, not a publicity stunt. Like it seems like he's very like he knows who guys are top to bottom. And like I like again the roster construction of this team, like I guarantee you he knows who's coming in next and what the moves will be and that kind of stuff. Like he wants to be hands-on involved. The best part of the interview, my personal favorite part, I would say, is I think you asked him about OKC and the Spurs, and I think he said
My
he would
last
take
question.
OKC, but then he said like, if it's
No, you
not
know
the
what?
Mavericks, I don't. Did he say it's not the Mavericks? I don't care or
So
something. Or is that?
no, you're right about that last part, but I went back and I thought he did say OKC, but he actually said they were two very good teams, and he said that without Jay Will, like it's a very toss-up game. So I think he was leaning OKC if Jay Will was
Oh.
healthy, but he was saying that the fact that OKC wasn't healthy, that like it could go either way. But yeah, the last part of it was great.
Did he say something about the Mavericks? Like, if it's not the Mavericks, I
So
don't
he
care
said
or something?
he said if it was in the Mavericks or the Honey Badgers, I don't care. So like
Mm.
he's a real one.
Yeah, that was funny to me. I'm like, man, again, what a like creative, quick comeback to something that that again, like on the spot, like I just awesome. Honestly, like and Joe and I talked about it too. Like if you scaled back 8 years and said like I know Sean Woodley talked about this on the Niagara broadcast the other day about like 8 years ago when this league started, like it struggled. Like there was hard to get fans in seats and this and that when it was less teams. And now you're looking at 10 teams. You've got total ownership. Mark Cuban is a part owner in Brampton. Like it has gone from like 0 to 100 in a matter of 8 years. And that makes me really excited for the next 8 years kind of thing.
Yeah, most definitely. No, it
Yeah.
was a special moment when certainly a core memory for all of us. And yeah, I don't think it's gonna be the last time that we see him at a game. He's definitely gonna pop in
No,
every now and
no.
then.
Yeah, I hope it is the last time we see you doing donuts in the parking lot because I saw you celebrating out there going as fast as you can in your Lexus. So I'll give you the plate number later if you guys
And
want
I'm
to
sure
chase it
people are
down.
dying to know, but he rejected my $1 million idea, so I gotta take it to somebody
What
else.
was it? Did you say something to him?
Butter chicken on a stick. I told you. No kidding.
Oh,
No, I didn't pitch him an
every chicken
idea.
stick?
No, I just like as soon as so funny tidbit. Like I found out from Al that like Mark frequents at a TIFF, and I've talked about on this podcast how much of a cinephile I am. So in anticipation of the interview, when we were sitting there, we were just talking about TIFF and him coming down, and he said now it's harder with his kids, right, to make the time to go, but he had a lot of production companies that helped with a lot of the films that would be premiering at TIFF. So he was a frequenter of that, and we talked about that after. And then at the end, man, he was just like such a good guy. Like there's a great photo that I probably like will frame of both of us laughing, and it was just such a good capulation, like a good capsule of how that entire interaction went. Like we were just joking around, and I think if you had not known before, you would have thought that we'd met before. And I think he was really, really
100%.
genuine. And yeah, thanks to Mark for that moment. Thanks to the league for setting that up. It was really, really special. And I'm ready to do anything for this Brampton Honey Badgers team now, Matt.
Wow, there we go. Well, you should be happy. You should be proud. That's a big bucket list. A couple of bucket list items checked off on the pod this week, man.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff that is obviously again, once in a lifetime opportunity. Sitting down with one of the you call them business goats. You mentioned also you don't get nervous. Are you nervous about talking to Cam Tyson right now?
Oh, most definitely. It's funny because I'm sure this will come up in the conversation, but I've interviewed him twice at halftime, and that guy is like all business. And even to give a small tease, like he's a big believer in the Mamba mentality, and I felt that during those interviews, like he's just business, and he gave me pretty short answers. But in doing my homework, this guy really opens up, and he's got a lot of personality out to him. So I'm looking to having a lighter conversation that's not just about basketball. That's coming up.
All right. Well, why don't we try to unlock that locked in Mamba mentality? You ready to
Tyson
talk to him?
zone, let's go.
Okay, let's do it. It is my absolute honor to welcome in the sharpshooter, Cam Tyson, joining the pod. Cam, first year as a Brampton Honey Badger. First of all, welcome to the Flower City. How's the experience been so far for you?
It's been amazing. I mean, everybody's welcomed me with open arms. Couldn't ask for more.
So what obviously you have like a super cool basketball journey. D and I thought we look these up all the time for players, and we see kind of the stepping stones as to how they got where they are. Take us back a little bit and tell us kind of where basketball started for you, obviously on the West Coast.
It started when I was about 4 or 5 years old. I grew up and just was like a part of like a basketball like family and extended family. My older brother played. Our neighbor was Zach Levine, and so it was just kind of like, we would get home from school, and my brother and Zach would always be playing, and I was just kind of annoying little guy that just wanted to fit in wherever I could, and just kind of they set the foundation for me. Initially, I wasn't really too keen on basketball. I was more of a football and baseball guy, and then my mom didn't really like me playing football when I got older, and then baseball, it was just like none of my friends really played it, so that's when I turned to basketball, and I really wasn't good. Like when I first started, I was terrible. I just kind of just rebounded and made all the physical, and I was like a bruiser. And then like seventh, eighth grade, I just kept putting in the work, and then seventh, eighth grade, I started to turn the corner and started to see my shot improve. And then by the time I got to high school, I felt like this is where I belonged. And then kind of when I got to high school, I didn't go to like a Seattle powerhouse by any means. It was just me on my high school team, and my dad always said it like, you're good enough, they'll come find you. And so when I was a senior, I only had 2 offers. It was either University of Vermont or University of Idaho. Vermont was a little far from home at 18, so I ended up choosing Idaho. And then I went from only having those 2 offers to being like a top 25 dude in the transfer portal the next year after a good freshman year. Ended up transferring to Houston, played for Coach Sampson for 2 years. And I mean, he's just an unbelievable coach. Definitely helped me not only as a basketball player, but as a person as well. And then, I decided to go back home and finish out my college career, my last 3 years at Seattle U, where I wasn't only coached by Chris Victor, but I was also coached by my brother. And just having somebody, that's your blood and that you're related to, be on the coaching staff and uh, kind of show up to work with every day was such a blessing, and it really helped me take coaching in a different light. Like, there was no ulterior motive. Like, every day he showed up and he wanted the best for me, so it was hard not to go out and get that program my all. And then after college, I played in the G League last year for the Portland Trailblazers G League, Rip City Remix. That was my first year out. And then playing in Summer League, I actually hurt my shoulder, had to get surgery, sat out for 5 months. And but I was fortunate enough that Rip City, gave me a place to call home when I came back from my surgery. So I was able to play the last 2 months of the G League season for Rip City. And then ultimately, I wanted to play some more after the season. I felt like I was just getting going, and the season was just ending. So, fortunately, Brampton, Coach Serta, Al, everybody here, has just kind of welcomed me in with open arms, and it's been nothing but amazing.
You are an interviewer's dream because you just gave the full bio and we didn't have to get into it. So God bless your soul, because that's amazing. Because if no one knows you, you just gave the full wiki about you. So that was amazing. So I really, really appreciate that, because like now we can get into the nitty gritty of things. But you talk about how you started playing football. You like banging bodies, and I know watching one of your other interviews, you talked about, being a younger kid, you weren't able to shoot the ball. Like, you were responsible for setting picks and getting rebounds, especially playing with your brother and, guys like Zach and stuff. I'm so curious, because you've mastered this craft of shooting, right? You've made that your thing. What point did you realize like you had this gift to shoot the ball and that you were really going to hone in and make that your specialty?
Well, my brother was, probably the best shooter I've ever been around. And so just being around that, and just being the competitive dude that I am, like, I wanted to beat him. Like, we was in the gym, I wanted to beat him. That was my goal, day in and day out. And it probably took me 10 years just to finally win one day of a shooting competition with him. But, just being around that and just being the competitor I am, like, I just knew I wasn't going to lose forever. So I think just being in that environment helped me a lot.
And D obviously brings up the 3-point stuff. Like, that is the calling card. Everybody asks us about you, and it's like, doesn't play inside the perimeter. Like, all he's going to do is shoot, and every time, like, unbelievable to watch you. So obviously, I think you're 7th all time in NCAA made threes. And I think the two names that we mentioned on the broadcast today, they were Curry and Redick. So Steph Curry and JJ Redick. If Cam Tyson now went back to 5-year-old Cam Tyson and said to him, if you knew who Steph Curry and JJ Redick were at the time, and said, like, I'm going to be ahead of these guys in all-time made threes at the college level, what would your kind of reaction be? Or would you be able to even believe that?
No shot. I would have said, like I said, I would have said college basketball and kind of looked at you a little crazy. Like, it really wasn't my speed. Like, I wanted to play football, I wanted to play baseball, and then we could talk about basketball. So, I wouldn't believe it if you told me that. But all my glory goes to God, and I just want to continue putting in the work and continue to help the Honey Badgers win basketball games.
And then if you go from like a university record to now a Canadian Elite basketball record, specifically with the Brampton Honey Badgers, you had 8 threes in the game that passed Christian Vital's club record of 7. When you had that game, was anybody in your ear? Like, I know sometimes in baseball, when there's a no-hitter going on, someone will get in the pitcher's ear and be like, hey man, it's the 7th inning. You haven't given up a hit yet. Was anybody telling you like, hey Cam, like, you're 2 threes away from passing this record or anything like that? Or was that just kind of like full focus mode? You're glued into the game kind of thing?
No, I was just focused on winning. And I feel like when I'm in a zone, everybody was doing a good job of finding me. And I know Coach always asked me, he was like, there's never a 3 that you take that I don't like. And he told me coming in, he said, if I want you to get up 10 threes a game, And then after the first game, he said, I might change that number to 20. So, that's just the belief that this organization has kind of instilled in me. And, I just want to go out and, make them proud every time I step on the court.
Cam, you were part of one of the most unique NCAA tournaments coming off the pandemic, being in a single city like Indiana. I'm sure that's an experience and a story that you'll be able to share for a long time. Of course, you guys went to the Final Four as well. Can you talk about how, I believe you redshirted the season prior because you'd made the transfer, and then you came into the season and then everything was kind of just flipped on its lid, and then you guys had the kind of season that you had?
Yeah, I think it's a testament to the Houston culture. It was something that, I feel like I didn't really know how to win college basketball games at the college level before I went to Houston. And then I went to Houston and, I was surrounded with, everybody in our team is still playing professional basketball. So, just being in that environment every day and being coached by a Hall of Famer and Coach Samp, we always joke, like, if you didn't like somebody going into the season, you're gonna love them coming out. Like, that's just the type of culture it is. I still talk to all those guys to this day, and it's a culture thing. Like, I think that's the best way to describe it. The culture is the best I've ever been in. Like, you know what you are getting yourself into every day. You're gonna come into work, and our whole preseason, like, we didn't keep track of made baskets. Like, that was not how you scored. You scored by getting offensive and defensive rebounds. And so, like, it teaches you the game through a different lens. And it really teaches you how to impact the game outside of scoring. Defensively, rebounding, being a playmaker, being a good teammate. And even there, like, I just had to be ready when my number was called. I only played in like 19, 20 games, I think. And, one of those games, I even ended up setting the Houston single game record. So I think, just being ready and, supporting my brothers while they was out there doing their thing, and, just staying confident and being ready when my number was called, it taught me a lot.
I'm going to quickly follow up because you talked about staying in touch with guys. Jamal Shed has become a fan favorite in Toronto. I mean, almost the entire country loves the guy. Did he give you any preparation to what you should anticipate coming to Canada, and maybe recommendations of things that you needed to try?
Yeah, he gave me a few restaurants. And I know when he said he gets back into town that he was gonna take me around, to kind of try some of them. But yeah, I talked to Maul a lot. So it's good to see a familiar face when I got to Toronto. Not really knowing too many people, not being too familiar with the city. Having a guy like Maul that I could just call and hey, like, what you think about this? What you think about that? So Maul's been a tremendous help.
And what about obviously, I mean, like, you being a new player here, this for us is a total new regime, front office, that kind of thing, with the exception of Jermaine, and then obviously Leonard, who bought the team last year. But when you came to this team, John Ross obviously had some connect and important basketball positions, whether it was the Trailblazers or Rip City out west. He told us the story about kind of your G League showcase and when you were they were told about you there, and it was like, you got to watch Cam, you got to watch Cam, you got to watch Cam. What's your relationship like with John, and what was kind of the story about you getting recruited to come to Brampton?
Yeah, so I didn't really know John Ross too well before I got here. I knew that my Rip City GM, he actually worked with him when John Ross was in the video room for the Portland Trailblazers. Like, they worked together. And so after the season, Danny, who's the GM in Portland, he kind of asked me, like, do you want to keep playing in the summer? Like, what's your plans for the summer? And I was like, yeah, like, I feel like I'm finally getting back caught up to speed. I'm starting to feel like myself again. Like, I would love to go play. And he was like, okay, like, I'll reach out to some people and try to see if we can get you a summer job. And so a couple weeks went by, and he calls me and he's like, how would you feel about going to Brampton? And at this time, like, I didn't really know too much about Canada, too much about anything. I went to customs, and they said I hadn't been to Canada since I was 6 years old, and they was like, they mentioned my mom's name. They was like, who is this person to you? And I was like, oh, that's my mom.
Running away.
Yeah. So it was like, oh, I guess I have been to Canada, but it's been a minute. So Just being able to come to such a great city, and Brampton, and seeing what it was like, and being in this area where the hoop culture it seems a lot like Seattle, like where everybody, everywhere you go, there's pros, there's you might walk into a 24-hour fitness or YMCA, and somebody's running there, there's going to be pros there. So just seeing this hoop culture is just unbelievable. It reminds me so much of home.
I'm curious because I've been with the league for the last 6 seasons, and so this question's always interesting me because the answer's been different every year, and you kind of see the growth. But you're probably running into a lot of guys that you've crossed paths with, and even when you're playing in the G League, you probably started to hear sprinkles of the CBL. What had you heard about the league, and what made it an enticing option for you?
To be honest, the only person I knew that played in the league was Tajay Moore. We was teammates in Rip City my first year out. And I know he came
MVP
here.
Tajay Moore.
Yeah, he came here, and this kind of really springboarded his career. And gave him the confidence in the summer that he was looking for. Not only did he tell me that it helped him on the court, he told me all the stuff that helped him off the court. Stretching. The importance of diet, all that stuff. He said that when he was in Vancouver with the band, is that really kind of helped him. And so it was just something that, like, okay, like they don't only care about you on the court. They're also going to take care of you and build you pro habits off the court. And so I mean that was enough for me.
Is there anybody like on your team too? Obviously, again, like with the exception of Prince, this is an entire new roster. Is there anybody that, like, obviously with the season being so short, like you blink and it's over, 24 games, and then whatever playoff you might get. But is there anybody that you've connected with really well that we kind of look at and be like, man, like we don't play together often, but we've connected so well, and that chemistry's kind of been like first nature?
All these guys. And like I don't just say that just to say that, but like I feel like we really have a team that care about the right things, and like we genuinely like playing with each other. Like every team that you're a part of, it's not always like that. And so for me, I mean, the easy ones are Sean, Ma, Tyrese, Prince, Keon. Like you can go down the line. There's nobody on this team that I wouldn't like to play with on my team. Like everybody is so invested in one another's success, and we know the common goal is winning games, and we just feel like if we win games, everybody's gonna eat.
So your workout, I mean, not your workout, but your work ethic is starting to become a stuff of legends. Everything I read and everything I watch talks about how you're the first guy in, last guy out. And, even John was telling us the domino effect it's had on some of the younger players on this team and how they've started to establish that. And, again, I hate kind of shitting on the previous regime, but that's something that we haven't been used to in Brampton. So you guys have really set like, a bar for the rest of the players, and just establishing a culture. And I'm just curious, right? I know you're a Kobe guy, so I know Mamba mentality is something that runs through your blood. But can you talk about the resilience that it's taken for you, bouncing around? And, the G League is not for everyone. I remember talking to Drawn Blossom Game. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but he went through the ranks of the G League, and he said it's tough, man. Like, you're not sleeping in your own bed, right? You're sitting on bus rides. Like there's more luxurious options if you want to go play overseas, and that's something that's attainable as well. But for a guy like you, it seems like the NBA is the end goal, and that's the goal. So can you talk about being cut from a different cloth, and what it's taken for you to get to this point in your career?
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to my background. Like my older brother, he was he wasn't the most athletic, the most, naturally gifted. I wasn't the most athletic, most naturally gifted. And, I was able to see what he did with the basketball, and, see all the blood, sweat, and tears that he put in, and, just kind of instilling that. And, my pops was crazy. We would come home, and if we weren't already made 1,000 shots by the time he got home, then that was going to be the last time we did that for sure. So he was going to have something to say. But I think it was my pops, my foundation, my family. They kind of just instilled that at a young age. And then when you're on your own, I went to Houston, and kind of when you're on your own, you find out a lot about yourself. And One of the things that, kind of just kept me sane, even the year I wasn't playing, and then, the year I did play, but, kind of didn't really play. The one thing that kind of kept me sane through it all was, just going to the gym and, just getting up shots. I was at Seattle U, and, whether I had a good game or a bad game, I would always be in the gym right after the game and getting up shots. And, I just saw, like, not only the benefits that it did for me, but, the people I surrounded myself with too, like they admired it as well. And, it was motivation for them. And, so just kind of, just falling in love with the game. I feel like if you really love something, you're willing to go to any length to go get it. And, I really love this game of basketball. And, I always want to be at the top of my game, and I feel like I can only do that through the hard work. And, I feel like my success is a product of the hard work. So, I give, like I said, I give all my glory to God, but, I understand that I got to keep working, and I'm nothing without the work.
All right, D, I have the big Mark Cuban question ready here. Do you have anything else before? Because this is going to be a loaded.
Go ahead.
You sure? Okay, I just wanted to say your piece before I ask this. So obviously, the Cuban thing has been huge for everybody. Like, they took the internet by storm. D and I were talking. We had like 1,000 messages from people being like, "Is this NBA Sentinel? Is this real? Is it fake? Whatever." I'm assuming the other day was the first time you'd met Mark, but did he, like, one, how crazy is that for you? And two, did he give you guys like a message, or did he meet the team, or like give the team any any speech or pep talk or anything, or was it kind of just like business?
To be honest, he didn't really talk to us much. I think he was just trying to, keep a good thing going and keep our focus on the game and not really take the spotlight, off of us. But just having him and having Al around the program and around the organization is big time. Because I mean, ultimately, everybody's goal is to make the NBA, but without the connections, it can be hard. And just knowing that you got these people in your organization that are top dogs that are willing to vouch for you, and that you could use for a reference, to help your basketball career. It means a lot. And I look forward to building that relationship with Mark, and and seeing him at a few more Honey Badger games, and hopefully we can get some more wins in front of him.
Yeah, obviously we hate to catch you off that loss on Saturday, but this season has been a lot of fun, and it looks like it's been a lot of fun for you guys starting out 5-1. Being the first Eastern Conference team in league history to have that start as well. Can you talk about the chemistry with this team? What it's been like getting used to each other and getting to know each other in a short amount of time. And I'd love just to hear, how Coach Serta's just made this game seamless for you guys at this point in the season.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Serta, in our first meeting during training camp, he was like, I got everybody here is here because these are all high character people that don't have any hidden agendas, and throughout that I've heard that everybody just wants to win, and through the first day of training camp, that was clear and evident. Nobody was over here trying to outdo somebody, or we were competing. Don't get it twisted. Like, we were competing to win the day and stuff like that. But, nobody, wants to be the guy. We are the guys collectively. And I think, that's why I feel like we have so much fun. And I hope, the fans and the city has fun watching us, just because we have fun playing with each other. And, at the end of the day, we all care about the common goal, and that's winning basketball games.
All right, well, Cam, we got to know you a little bit, but now we really get to know you. We're going to do target time. Are you ready?
Ready.
All right, time now for target time. This is the segment that is the lowest and slowest form of rapid fire that you will ever see. It's, of course, Cam Tyson. Cam, first question. Have you ever seen Sleepless in Seattle, the movie? And if not, what is your favorite movie?
The way his eyebrows raised.
As soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, this is a horrible way to start.
But knowing what I know about Seattle and what is hosted in Seattle, it's probably, a very gloomy and sad movie.
It is. I think. Have you seen it? I've never seen it.
It's an all-time rom-com, man. It's a classic.
Okay.
Is it?
I got to check it out.
Is it sad? I think it's Tom Hanks, isn't it?
It is, but I mean, it's I don't know if you've seen You've Got Mail. Like, it's in line with all those rom-coms. So I mean, there's a happy ending, but it's funny that you mentioned the doom and gloom. You can definitely tell by the colors of the movie that it's a wet place.
It's sad.
100%. But no, I would have to say my favorite movie of all time is All About the Benjamins.
Ah, that's a good one. I like that.
I've never seen it. Who's in that?
Mike Epps, Ice Cube. It's just a hilarious movie.
Oh, that's I gotta watch
I think
that.
after that, like Jerry Maguire came out in those types of movies, right? About getting that money.
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so you're a big Kobe guy. I mentioned that off the top. What is your favorite Kobe memory of all time? There's a lot of them.
Ooh.
And remember, you're talking to a Canadian audience, so the 81-point game might not be a great one to mention.
Yeah, fact. I wasn't even going to say that one. I was going to say probably the one where, they were having a losing season, and he said, he took all the Kobe's out the locker room and said, anybody wearing my shoes out on the 30s? Like, I was like, yo, he's different.
What was the commercial with the 81-point thing too? Wasn't it Jalen Rose?
Jalen Rose. Yeah.
And he's like, how many olives do you want? And he's like 81, and then he's just laughing or whatever. That's
Fact.
Speaking of taking stuff off, well, I mean, I should say merchandise-wise, that was terrible. If you could partner with one pro athlete to create a basketball shoe, so it could be like NBA, G League, CEBL, anybody right now.
Mark Cuban.
Who would it? Yeah, Mark Cuban. Yeah, $1 billion idea. Who would it be?
I'll probably say Ellie De La Cruz.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, okay.
Baseball
Nice.
guy. Okay. Are you a baseball fan?
I love baseball.
Mariners?
Yeah, Mariners my team, but y'all, I don't like talking about it too much.
Yeah, you don't want to say that out loud here.
Yeah. You walked in the playoffs, didn't we?
I know.
Let me just end the call really quick. Let me get this.
Man, speaking of Cal Raleigh hasn't been playing up to his potential this season, eh?
For sure. I think a lot of people kind of are struggling with the Worldwide Baseball Classic, and I feel like
Vladdy's an example of that too.
Yeah, I think that kind of took a toll on guys. They're trying to put on for their country. I mean, rightfully so. And when they get back, it's already probably like they played 30, 45 games, and so they're probably already a little bit taxed. So I think we're gonna see Cal come around.
Have you been to games there? Obviously, sorry, one more D. I'm the baseball guy, so I need to hear this. Have you been to that?
Get it.
Okay. I've been to games there. I've been to games here. I love baseball, so I can talk baseball all day.
Damn, that's good to know. That's good to know.
I'm going to the game in Seattle on June 19th, I think. They're playing the Red Sox. I've never been to it's Safeco or T-Mobile now, I guess is what it's called. But I've never been there. Is there anything there that I should do specifically in Seattle or in the park or anything? This is my second time. I think the last time I went there, I did the Space Needle, and this time I'm doing a UW campus tour or something. And
okay. The biggest thing in the park, man, there's my favorite restaurant. They got these little crab stuff. Have you ever been to Cane's?
No.
Cane's?
No.
I know everybody talks about their Texas toast, but it's like crab stuff inside of some Texas toast.
Okay.
It's fire.
Okay, I'm write that down. Okay, I remember they had crickets a couple of years ago. They were selling fried crickets or something at park or something. I'm not gonna do that, but Raising Cane sounds better. Cool, thank you. Okay, Dave.
Is Seattle the city that they toss the fish too?
Yeah, that's Pike's Place.
Yeah. You gotta go toss yourself a fish, Matt.
I saw that the last time. I was there when they were doing it because someone bought. I think if you buy one of the big fish or something, they throw it, or I don't know how it works. But I saw someone do it, and then I'm like, are these guys nuts, man? What are they doing? Should they be working? And then I realized that was the thing. I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot.
That is work.
This is exactly what they're. Yeah, didn't know. Not cultured in the local scene.
So Cam, you talked about Seattle. I want to establish, but before we get to my next question, because it's a segue to that, you established the Mariners as your baseball team. Is it safe to assume you grew up a Wizards fan and I guess it would have been Redskins, but now Commanders fan?
That's Washington D.C. The Seattle Seahawks are our team.
So I thought you grew. I know, but I thought you grew up closer to the Washington area. So that would be. So then you're a Super Sonics fan, and then you are a Seahawks fan, then, right?
Yeah. Those are the right colors for sure.
Gotcha.
Seahawks came off the Super Bowl. Just want to throw that out there. Hopefully we go get our second. back to back. That's what we're shooting for. We should have done it a couple of years, like 10 years ago, but we didn't want to run the ball on the 1 yard line.
So then, are you old enough to remember the Supersonics, and like, what are your memories of that team? This is my question.
I just remember sitting up in the nosebleeds watching Ray Allen, and trying to get there 2 hours before the game just so I could get his autograph as a kid.
And I'm sure once you saw Ray Allen shot, you're like, that's what I want to be, right?
For sure, 100%. But those are the days I remember. Rashard Lewis, Ray Allen, Luke Rittenauer, all those guys.
Right.
D is, you'll be happy to know D is our in-house geography guy, so that actually works out perfectly. So thank you for that.
I butchered that one.
Actually, I'm gonna keep on the line of geography here. West Coast and East Coast. Being on the East Coast now, what's the biggest difference you find? Could be positive, could be negative, but positive is probably the safe route.
I thought, honestly, I thought Seattle had a lot of culture and a lot of different people from different places, but this Toronto area has people from everywhere. Like, and the amount of like food and like this culture that's out here is amazing. Like, I love it. Like, I'm a foodie type of guy. Like, I like to go try new restaurants and try new things, and so just being able to if I want butter chicken one day, some soul food the next day, whatever, just kind of being able to get whatever I want. I love it out here.
That was D's $1 billion idea. Wait, that was your $1 billion idea.
Oh yeah, butter chicken on a stick.
Butter chicken on a stick.
But Cam, listen, you're talking about culture. You got to do everything in your power to go to Caravana this year and experience that. It is such a good time, and you will never forget it for the rest of your life.
What is that?
Caravana, so it's like a West in like the Caribbean, the West Indian culture. Like they take over the streets, they go down in parades. Like I don't know if you're familiar with like Trinidad and in Guyana where they do their like carnivals. Like it's the same idea for an entire week. It's a blast. And like LeBron comes down for it, Shaq comes down for it. Like it's a big thing.
That's fire. Okay.
Yeah, but you're gonna have to bring your best dance moves. Hopefully you don't have 2 left feet.
Oh.
Speaking of food, Houston's known for its food. What's your favorite thing to eat in Houston?
That's a tough question.
There's a
lot.
I hit some part of your brain there.
Nah, for sure. But I'll probably give you 2. And one of them might just be because I was in college, but the one I was gonna say first is Genghis Grill, and then my second one is the Breakfast Club.
Okay. My stomach's turning already.
And there's also Turkey Leg Hut. If y'all want like a crazy big turkey leg, go to Turkey Leg Hut.
Turkey leg cut. That sounds good. We when Coach Scherter was on here, I think we just came back from Austin, and I said we were at Terry Black's. I don't know if you've ever been to Terry Black, but I feel like it's like wings in Buffalo, like, or in New York State, anywhere around the border. Like, someone could have a spot that's like everybody within a kilometer says is the best in the world. Then you go like 10 kilometers down the road, and then there's like another spot that they even haven't even heard of. There's so many good options. Terry Black's, yeah. If you guys are ever in Austin, I'm the plug for Terry Black's. Okay, what animal best represents your style of play?
I think I'm a lion. I'm somebody that hunts a whole bunch of threes, and somebody that likes to eat they prey.
So you're honey badger.
King of the jungle.
Right.
Okay, so I love that I know that you love football now, because a big move today. Matt literally told me right before we started the podcast, to shake up in the NFC West. Myles Garrett is apparently going to come in there, so it's going to make your life a little bit of hell. But what I want to know is, Kenneth Walker was your MVP of the season. Are you upset that they let him go?
Yes and no. I mean, I think through the years we've built such a great running back culture, and I think Zach Charbonnet has proved flashes of, he can be that number 1 back. And, I like the running back we drafted this year in the draft. I don't know if he's NFL ready or not, but, time's going to tell. And I think, being a fan, like, I think we have such a great defense that there's no reason we shouldn't be able to run it back. Where did Myles Garrett go?
The Rams.
Wow.
Yeah. They went They went from Aaron to friggin' Myles Garrett. I don't know how they keep pulling this off, man. They somehow finagle the salary cap just to make it work. It's crazy.
Facts. I think at some point though too, like especially in football, because careers are so like short that like those guys that were on losing franchise teams, like they ultimately want to. They're ultimately inclined to take a little less money just to win some more games.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Matt before the podcast. Like, he's been preaching about wanting to leave a legacy and make a great career for himself. I'm like, why did you sign that massive deal with the Browns then, if that's the case?
Right.
Man, no one wants to stay in Cleveland, respectfully. Okay. Best trash talker you have ever faced, any level of basketball. It could be any sport, actually, but someone who you would look back on and be like, oh my gosh, that guy is like a menace. Could be a teammate, too.
I would have to say, honestly, the best trash talker is my dad. That's all he does all day, is just talk a whole lot. And like, it might hurt your feelings, like if you haven't been around it enough, because you don't realize it. Like, that's literally all he does is just talk all day.
You ever give it back to him, or are you like, you're just accepting of it?
Oh, of course, but I mean, it gets to a point where sometimes you just gotta let them talk. Like, all right.
Okay.
We all have those friends in life, so that totally checks out.
Uh-huh.
My last one, and you have to think about this one, okay? Your Mount Rushmore of shooters. Who would you put on your 4 best shooters of all time?
Ooh.
Oh,
I gotta go Steph, Ray Allen, Kyle Korver.
Oh,
Nice.
Korver, that's
Nice,
big.
nice.
Yeah. He's taking that 4th spot.
I know there's so many names. I'm gonna throw JJ Redick on there.
Okay.
Nice.
Man, you
That's
talk
just
about routine. I heard JJ Redick's had one of the craziest pregame routines.
I've heard that too.
That's just out of respect now, putting Redick on the Mount Rushmore, out of respect for jumping him in the all-time records there in the NCAA. That's a gimme. Last one, quick one for you. Is your beard inspired by anyone? Like, you have a very James Harden-like beard. Is that a Houston connection, or is that just a Cam Tyson
put that
thing?
together, Houston.
Honestly, I just got tired of shaving every day, so I was just like, all right, it's gonna grow.
You need some sort of deal. You need some sort of sponsorship deal or something. And maybe if someone listens to this, they're going to hook you up with some sort of a Gillette Fusion deal, like Grady Dick on the Raptors or something like that. But awesome. Well, Cam, you hit the target time winner. We appreciate you joining the pod today, and best of luck on Wednesday against the Stingers. And we look forward to watching you throughout the rest of the season.
Thank you so much for having me.